Hello and welcome to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel for an IPL Preview Show. We're previewing qualifier number 2 here at the end of the IPL. We are here in association with our good friends at talkSPORT Bet. For all the latest IPL odds, head to talksportbet.com. It is 18 plus, gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. I'm Sam Ellard, alongside me, Jared Kimber, and also Rob Barron. Gentlemen, a very good morning. Have you seen any trends over the last couple of weeks in the IPL?
I think maybe the one is like, and it's quite common, of just trying to work out whether it's a high pitch or a low pitch, because we haven't had, we've had some medium scores as well, but occasionally you'll know, like the 2 games that we just had last week, right? In Mullanpur, it was like, is this the bad wicket or the good wicket, right? And so you either go all for overs, where you're saying everyone's going to hit, score more runs than you expect, or you go for unders. So I think that's probably happened a little bit more this tournament, whereas last year it was like, just keep pressing overs and until someone goes out, right? Like it was very, very different in last year's IPL, because we just felt like maybe it was the first time we were used to that, but people hitting 4s and 6s every ball. And so, there's no way that people could catch up to that. Whereas now, I think maybe the market was a little bit more smart. So now you're looking at, is this the game where no one makes runs, or is this the game where everyone makes runs?
And Rob, same question to you. I mean, has this been one of the more unpredictable IPLs, do you think?
It's been really difficult because we had the 10-day break where so you're massively in line with, this guy's in great form, this guy's in bad form, this is what team they're going to play, this is what pitch they're going to play on. And they go, well, actually, half the people have gone home. We don't know which ones are coming back. We don't know where they're going to play next time. So you've got to rip everything up. And as Jared just said, we've just had 2 games at the same place, 100 all out, and then 228. How are you meant to do numbers for that? It's just really difficult. So you can do as much pre-match work as you want for your betting. But then you go, this isn't the pitch that I thought. I'm going to have to rip it up. And then you start betting on what you're seeing now. And you just go, well, I thought maybe they would play on the same deck, that everything was bowled and everyone was out for nothing. And all of a sudden, they're playing on absolute highway.
And like, if you look at the winners coming in, if you look at the odds, I think the 4 favourites, only one of them actually made it to the playoffs. Right. So it was 3 teams that know.
Assuming that's Mumbai.
Hey?
Assuming that's
Mumbai.
Yeah.
I mean, Mumbai would be favourites even when they're last, but we can talk about that later.
They were nearly 1 point, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they will go, if they make it to the final, they will go in as favourites, despite the fact that they were the 4th team in the playoffs.
So, I mean, Rob just mentioned how hard it is to kind of almost plan and prep for a game, but how much research would you normally tend to do going into an IPL game?
Yeah, I probably do a lot less than him. He goes nuts. I've been
the suitcase he brought in.
That's just stats.
I know. He's got books and books of numbers and stats.
I'm probably looking for what are the key matchups that are going to happen early on, and then maybe I'll probably look at like 3 different matchup periods. So I'll be looking at who the openers are going to be going up against, what happens when the power play finishes, and then maybe one for later on if I know that someone's going to bowl, a fast bowler or a spinner's going to come on after the 10th or the 12th over. So I'm looking at those and how they're going to match up with players. But I'll let Rob explain actually what he does, because it's wrong and no one else should try it.
Yeah, this is a 4-hour show, right?
No.
Okay. So briefly, before the tournament starts, I would probably, if I was betting on it full time, lock myself away for a fortnight and go through literally every player that could possibly play in it. And if I didn't know who they were, which, Suryavanshi, 14-year-old kid, I have to go away and find out and see what they do and what they're about. But you can do as much prep as you want. You get to but I will not look at any bookies odds. Not going to do that. So I price up everything myself. Who's going to get the most runs? And then I try and do the starting 11s based on last year. If they spent boatloads of money on someone at an auction, you're like, well, they're going to pick that guy, aren't they? And then they don't. It's very difficult, but I prep loads. But you can look up any stats you want on cricket. There's loads of them out there. There's loads of websites where you can just put someone's name in and go, right, I know all about him. Don't care what anyone's average is, because it doesn't help me bet. I need to know about dismissal methods. I need to know about strike rates against certain bowling types. And you can record those. You have to go digging and you have to find them yourself. And I'm terrible at spreadsheets personally, so I have to get help from clever people who do all that stuff for me. But I'm allowed to bet on this number of markets, so I must do stats that are tailored towards that, right? Rather than just going, Virat Kohli averages. I don't even know what he averages. I mean, everybody knows what he averages, but I don't care. I want to know that he's bashing the power play more this season, which he is. He's more aggressive early. Is he still doing what he did last year, which is getting a single off every ball between the power play and him scoring 50, because he loves scoring 50. But he's not. He's changing, and you have to change as the players change. So there's no point in me looking at historic stats about how someone got out 10 years ago. Joe Root's a really good example, because now, I mean, Joe Root didn't used to play the reverse scoop off the first ball of the day in the Ashes 10 years ago. He used to block it or leave it. So yeah, you have to change with it, but the amount of prep that goes into it is it's geeky.
Do you want me to give you a Rob Barron-ism?
No, I need to lie down after that. I mean, I'm already stressed out. They're only 2 minutes in. I mean, crikey.
He'll literally say to you, you know how Marcus Stoinis only goes out bowled 11% of the time?
I knew that,
Yeah. That's the sort of thing he drops into normal conversation.
Yeah. Is that like...
That is normal conversation, right?
Well, for this show, it is quite a normal conversation. Yeah, maybe when you're in the pub on a Friday, maybe that's why I'm going wrong in life. I'm just too busy talking to people in bars about how Marcus Stoinis gets out bowled 11% of the time. So just out of interest then, you said before the start of the tournament, you make all your own odds compared to what a bookmaker like talkSPORT Bet might have.
Sure.
When you had your odds for a ball was bowled compared to other betting companies, were there big differences, or was it quite often the team that you thought was favourite and the team that was least favourite? Were there patterns?
Yeah, so the thing is, the bookies, and fair enough, I'm not digging them out for this. If this show
don't dig out talkSPORT Bet, they're trying to sponsor this. Come on.
I'll dig out all the bookies later.
Please.
But they have a margin round their odds, right? So what that means is I price everything to 100%, and the bookies put. So for example, if you're betting on the coin toss, which people do, who's gonna win the coin toss?
That seems like a fair Mallard thing to bet on.
Yeah, don't bet on Rohit. He's rubbish at them, but it should be 50-50, right? It should be 100%, 50%, 50%. And the bookies go, well, actually, we're going to go 1.91 both sides, and they take a bit of juice, right? That's how they make their money. Perfectly fair. So I do all my odds, who's going to get the most runs for each team, the most wickets, all that stuff, to 100%, factoring in that this guy might play. It's really hard. There's no right answer to what price should Inglis be, because I'm like, well, looking at this team, he's got to open, right? He's got to open. And then you're open, so I didn't know how good he was. So I got that one wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's very difficult. And so I price it up with no juice. And then I look at all the prices where they've knocked on 20% or 25%, or in some cases 50%. It's really hard to beat. But I go, well, if I make it a bet, then I bet it. And if I don't, I just go, okay, I did loads of work. Sometimes you do 4 hours work on a team and you end up going, well, I can't bet because there's no decent bet out there. But sometimes you dig out a beauty. And then
I've never seen you do
I'm reticent.
Why do you lie to the people? There's cameras on.
Are there? I'm reticent to no bet because it's boring, but no, like sometimes you go, well, I'm not getting involved with this team because they're crazy. Chennai, I don't know what they're going to do. And Chennai are two different teams this season. First half of the season, they're blocking and plodding around, letting Shankar score 17 off 30 or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell am I watching here? And then all of a sudden, there's a 17-year-old playing, and he's amazing. And then they bring a 19-year-old in, Irvine, and he's amazing, he's smashing it everywhere. It's like, so I have to throw all those stats in the bin because those guys aren't playing anymore.
Sure.
And they've put in different people. So yeah, it's geeky, but it can be quite fun, and you can dig up some really interesting stuff.
So perhaps a more...
So Marcus Stoinis.
11% of the time he got bowled. I'm going to use that when I go to my local club this afternoon. So perhaps a more simple market, which you can find on talkSPORT Bet. The IPL winner. We know it's going to be one of three teams, don't we? Odds are subject to change, but Royal Challengers Bangalore are evens. We got the Mumbai Indians at 13-8 and the Punjab Kings at 4-1. Ahead of qualifier 2, Rob, how do you see these three teams and their chances of winning the IPL?
I think Mumbai are consistently overrated by the market. For various reasons. They do have the best bat in the competition and the best bowler in the competition, so I kind of get it. But they've had a lot of change going on, Mumbai. They've had people disappearing. You know, Jax has gone, Bosch has gone, which is not that big a deal. And Rickleton, who got 388 runs or something, has disappeared. Now, it looked like he'd left a big hole, and then Bairstow comes in and belts it everywhere yesterday. You think, okay, it's fine. But there's gaps for Mumbai, and they are overrated. You know, maths-wise, you just couldn't bet Mumbai at whatever price you said they are there. It's not a bet. I'm still holding on to my Punjab tickets from before the season.
Were they your tip before the start of the tournament?
Yeah, they were 14s, and we thought that was...
what did you like about their team?
I loved their auction. I loved it.
But with the Punjab, would you not say what's been interesting about their success this season? Lots of the guys have got the runs. I know Shreyas has got runs, but lots of uncapped players who have gone really, really well this year. That's why maybe they've caught a lot of people by surprise.
So they've all chipped in. There's a clarity of role about Punjab, and they've also had guys that have disappeared from the team who you would think are really good. Chahal, Marco Jansen's gone, and they have other guys that come in and do stuff. Punjab in years gone by have been catastrophic in decision making, just an absolute clown car, and the doors are flying off all the time. And they're like, here's Odean Smith to defend at the end. They're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, how have you spent that much money on this guy who doesn't bowl at the death, who's just been whacked for 20, you've lost another game, never mind. But now they've gone, right, Ponting has clearly got masses of sense when it comes to cricket. And they go, this is how we're going to set up. And we've got, you're our new ball bowler, Arshdeep, left arm, swings it. You're going to bowl at the end as well. Everyone's got a role. And I thought that Shreyas Iyer was going to be pure anchor number 3. He's going to be the one that chills out and everyone else hoofs it. But he started hoofing as well. And he's just bought into the Punjab philosophy is we're going to belt it the whole way down and see how many we get. And I hope they carry on with that, because it didn't work for them the other day when they got rolled for 100. They all just kept whacking. They lost early wickets. It was hard batting conditions. And they just kept whacking anyway. And they got rolled for 100. Carry on doing it. Don't come out blocking next time. So I think at those prices, Punjab are the best.
So I don't understand those prices. So Punjab are 4-1.
Yeah, winner at the outright odds, talkSPORT bet, Punjab Kings 4-1, Mumbai Indians 13-8, and RCB are evens.
So think about that for a minute. Punjab have to win 2 games.
Sure.
And Mumbai have to win 2 games.
Sure.
But their odds are not anything like each other.
Well, I guess our friends at talkSPORT bet think that Mumbai are much stronger than Punjab Kings, right?
So my point would be is that me and Rob talk about this thing called the Mumbai tax, right? When
What is the Mumbai tax, Jared? Educate me.
So Mumbai fans bet on such a massive scale around the world, right?
Right.
They actually warp the odds. I think Rob was telling me last night.
So that could be a good reason as to why Mumbai are much shorter than Punjab.
Because it doesn't make any... Yesterday in the game, I think Mumbai started as massive favourites over Gujarat for no reason, right? When Gujarat had the better season all the way through. They should have at least been close in odds. And what happens is...
When you break that 11 the teams down... Mumbai do have a much stronger 11.
They had a couple of guys,
didn't they? No,
they had a couple of guys in the middle that weren't particularly good.
Sure.
You know, I mean, they had a guy called, what was his name, Bawa?
Yeah, Rajat Bawa. Yeah.
You've got a lot of notes on him, do you, Sam?
No.
How many? Let's have a look through your notes. My point is, they had some weaknesses in their side, right? That wasn't their full strength side. They didn't have Rickleton, and they still went in as massive favourites. Now, I understand Butler wasn't playing as well, so it goes in both directions. But this happens for every Mumbai game. Last year, Mumbai came second last.
Mumbai finished bottom, and they were favourites in all 14 matches, and they lost 10 of them. They were favourites in all 14. I
guess that is a great example of the Mumbai tax then, right?
So what happens is when you're betting or trading on a game with Mumbai, you have to factor in that the odds are never right. Do you know what I mean? Literally, you can see them in front of you, and there's so much money that is being bet that they're being warped. It's not the only team that we see this with. There's a fun one in associate cricket, which is Nepal, right? The Nepalese fans just love it, and you're looking at the game going, they shouldn't be favourites. They need 100 runs off 5 overs. How are they doing this? So sometimes fan bases can change it. So that's what Rob was talking about before. Of the odds quite often are reflective of what the bookmaker thinks, but they're also reflective of how much money has come in.
Yeah.
So if you have a different thought, and I would say, and that's why I think we both would agree, that Punjab at 4s is a really, really good bet.
That's the value bet there.
Yeah.
Right? Let's do a little bit more then on Mumbai. All 4 teams that went into the playoffs have lost players. Mumbai, you mentioned, Rob, have lost the 2 block guys at the top of the order in Jackson Rickleton. Would you say, though, Johnny Bairstow, in terms of a short-term deal, is a pretty good replacement to come in?
I thought it was hilarious watching him because he'd made runs in county cricket. I think he made a couple of half centuries in his last county game. And Rob backed him for unders because Rob was saying, how does a guy go from playing county cricket to suddenly being in the IPL with no real preparation?
It's 2025, Rob. I mean, come on. We saw Sikandar Raza playing at Trent Bridge on a Saturday and playing in the PSL final on a Sunday.
Absolutely.
Even I know that.
Yeah, but I still think he thought he might fail. But if you look at that innings, that was one of the tinniest innings. Like, there was so much, like, they were hitting the ball up in the air over and over again. Both of them should have been caught and everything. But
more luck than judgment in that innings.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the power play?
I did.
It was
watch
ridiculous.
it.
Like, if you play that power play back,
when there's a couple of drops as well in there as well.
Well, yeah, but also the misfields. And there was one that wasn't even a drop because Shubman Gill was looking in the other direction. I think he was on his phone.
Yeah.
Right? The ball went past his
Working
head.
out who's batting a 5 in England.
Yeah. So I think if you look at that, you would say Bairstow got runs, but they're a bit scratchy. But he also, when he hit some balls, he looked like proper Bairstow. So I don't mind that at all. It's a different kind of opener to Rickleton because Rickleton really plays more like a traditional anchor and then occasionally hits some boundaries. Whereas Bairstow looked like he was in nuts Bairstow mode.
I'm here potentially for one game. I might as well just switch.
Yeah, exactly.
If I fail, it's probably not the end of the world, is it? I'm not going to get judged too much.
Why not? Nice gig.
After only 1 win in the first 5 games, Mumbai Indians picked up really, really good form. Jasprit Bumrah, I'm
But
guessing, coming back in after 5 games.
You answered your own
Was
question.
it pretty big? Is it as simple as having Bumrah to bowl?
It is as simple as that.
Is that
There's if you're a cricket team that doesn't have Jasprit Bumrah in, you are nowhere near as good as when you do have him in. He is by far and away the best. Like he bowls in all phases. He's not just good at keeping runs down. He's an absolute gun at taking wickets, and he can intersperse those two skills. So if they need a wicket, he gets one. If they need him to bowl dry, he bowls dry. And yesterday, they needed both, and he did both.
Yeah.
They've got 2 guys whacking it everywhere. What was Washington on? Like 2 a ball 45 or something. And they're like, okay, they're scoring a bit too quickly. So Harson's like bedded in, he's on 70. Jasprit, please. And he just goes, sure, 1 for 3, absolutely cleaned him up. He ended up on the floor. He's so good at cricket. And so if you've got that guy and they go, oh yeah, they haven't won in the first 4, they go, yeah, but Bumrah's like been in his cryogenic chamber or whatever, and we're going to
I can tell you,
release him.
I was on Gujarat, and I'm not sure if he was at that stage. And I said, oh, they might bring Bumrah on here. And the minute we saw him with the ball, we both just cashed out. Right, because you can't go up against him. He does this so many times. And at that stage, Gujarat were favourites for the first time in the game, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
yeah.
and they got back in, but you're not favourite when you got to go up against Bumrah. And then, so we were doing the maths.
So why were they favourites then? If you know you got 2 overs of Bumrah still to come with 6 to go.
But no one knew he was going to come on in that over.
Right.
And that's the big thing. We were guessing he might come on, and we were lucky enough to get out early enough. But that's kind of what you're doing all the way through, because we were looking at the numbers, and I think they needed 66 off 36.
It's about 10 wasn't it left?
Yeah. And so we were working out, well, how many runs is he going to go off the next 2 overs, off his 2 overs, I should say. And you take the 12 balls off, right? And then suddenly like, well, now Gujarat have to score at 2.5 runs a ball from the other end. And that's what you're doing the whole time with someone like him. You're not doing that with really anyone else.
They also did something else yesterday, which really, really annoyed me yesterday. Did you see Sky go down with cramp for 5 minutes? And I thought to myself, if you need a wicket, just bring on Jasprit Bumrah. And I'm sat in there watching on TV. I don't want to make this into me moaning about the IPL. I thought it was an absolute joke that the umpires all just stood there allowing this game just to stop for 5 minutes. And everyone just having a chat and having a cup of tea. Go over to him, get him up. And if he's got cramp, get him off the pitch. It's such a bad look for a game of that magnitude that we all just stopped for 5 minutes. But when it was blatantly obvious what was happening. And then it's just anyway, Bumrah comes on, bowls an absolute beaut, and he's going to get a wicket anyway. You don't need to go down for 5 minutes to stop the game.
The IPL is no stranger to having a delay for no reason. And the first innings lasted 1 hour 50 yesterday.
55 on there.
Yeah, we were hot and bothered by the time it finished. Anyway, it was it was I start most days like that, but
it's all those numbers. You've got so many numbers to keep up with.
Spending time with him is what it is. But Jonathan Trott did it for Afghanistan, where they had to change the game with Gulbin and Naib, right? It's like, we need something to happen now, and that was the most common.
You want to reenact it? What first did?
Well, maybe not at this time in the morning, but it was like he'd been shot in the hamstring, and it was great acting. It was really funny. Everybody knew what he was doing, and they couldn't really do anything about it. And then he came back and bowled like 5 minutes later. His hamstring miraculously reattached itself. But yeah, yesterday, I didn't really pick up on it at the time. I was thinking, he has no bearing on this game now, Sky. He's done what he needs to do. So if he's lying on the floor, tell him to go and lie somewhere else and bring in one of the many people that he's allowed to field instead of him. And Mahela, I think, was responsible for that, because he was very animated. And they actually, if you look at the odds of the game, which we always do when it's going on, they played it perfectly, because they were just drifted into second favourites. They were just like under it, less than 50% to win. And Mahela went, I'm not happy about this. He was really, you never see him doing that, do you? You never see him running around on the boundary rope.
Remember, he was
like proper
trying
angry.
to tell him to do something.
And 5 seconds after that, Sky's lying on the floor looking heavenward. And you're like, okay, they're doing something here. And then the game on its head changed. So you don't like shenanigans, Sam? It's not what I've been told about.
You're a shenanigans man.
Yeah, fine. Well, no, that was just nonsense. The IPL,
You like shenanigans, not nonsense.
No, I don't like it. It's just I wanted Gujarat to win. It was obvious what they were doing yesterday, and the length of the games in the IPLs are an absolute disgrace, and that just added to it. Jasprit Bumrah is really good at bowling.
Okay.
Trent Bolt is really good at bowling.
Yep.
And in particular in the first over. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, because you've got sort of Punjab are just going to go, right? Like, that's just the way they bat. But Bolt is probably one of the best new ball bowlers of all time. And then on the other side, you've got Arshdeep going up against Rohit Sharma, who doesn't like left-arm bowlers. So you've got 2 of the best. And when we say new ball bowlers in T20 cricket, I would say that Arshdeep and Trent Bolt are almost first over bowlers, right? That is when they're at their absolute best. And so the game, I wouldn't say it could be decided in the first over, but if one of those guys takes a wicket and the other one doesn't, it's going to have a big impact because Mumbai don't have a lot of bowling until Bumrah comes on without Bolt, and Arshdeep doesn't have his leg spinner anymore. So both of those guys,
Marco Jansen.
yeah, and Marco Jansen as well, yeah. So both of those guys really have to strike early on, and it will change the odds massively, right? You know, so if you look at the game tomorrow, Mumbai will be favourite because of the
Mumbai tax.
Thank
the
you.
hashtag Mumbai tax.
And so they'll probably start in the final as favourite as well if they make it to the final. And so you have a situation there where you could have Mumbai not being favourites within 2 balls because because Rohit has missed a ball from Arshdeep that has swung in, and exactly the same in the other way. Mumbai are already massive favourites. Trent Bolt gets the ball, right, and you can back Mumbai at that stage. So I think the first overs are huge in this particular matchup just because these are the 2 best new ball bowlers in T20 cricket. Have you got any stats on that, Rob?
I think that's fair. Well, I wasn't allowed my big box of stats, so they're all coming out of my head, which is a dangerous place for them to come. But anyway, Bolt is there's a lot of stuff about Gujarat which doesn't really help me. Basically, Bolt was somebody that we were on so many times last season, wicket in first over for when he was playing Rajasthan. Mumbai signed him, and Bolt's bowling ability is almost a straight line from absolutely amazing to not very good now. Like his first ball is stunning. His
24th
ball is, but by the time he bowls death, he's no good anymore because he's knocking on a bit, and his skills were always new ball anyway. But yesterday he showed he's so good at executing early, and he's coming up against the best opening partnership in terms of not getting out, Sidharth and Gill, probably ever. They're averaging like 60 between them or something. And he comes in and just nails Gill with absolutely brilliant, like banging front, blew his front pad off. You know, he's too good. So he's something like 1 in 3 IPL first overs he takes a wicket. That is mental. And the bookies, when they bet on will there be a wicket in the first over, are always 3-1 or bigger. And sometimes we were getting 4-1, 4.5-1. Bolt's got the ball in his hand and he gets 1 in 3 over a big sample size. He played a lot of cricket, right? And it doesn't matter really who's opening. What you really want was last year when he's going up against KKR and Salt and Narayana trying to blast him. You're like, well, he's going to bowl them or they're going to hit one straight up in the air. But it doesn't matter. It's like Bumrah. He's that good. It doesn't matter if they're not going after him. But as Jared said, with Punjab, you know that Arya is just going to come out and swing, and so's Prabh Simran. Arya got cleaned up first ball of the innings against Jofra when they played Rajasthan. Absolute beauty. He's not going to block up against Bolt, I don't think. So, yeah, there's probably going to be value there in that first over right from the get-go.
Jared, in terms of Mumbai, is there anything else that stands out? Anything else that, I mean, if people go on to talkSPORT bet and want to have a little bet on Mumbai Indians top batter, I mean, no surprise, obviously the favourite for most runs top batter is Sky. But any other names that maybe jump out? We talk about Johnny Bairstow. He's 4-1 to be top batter. I mean, he looked a little bit lucky in that innings, but he looked pretty good at the top of the order.
Yeah, I mean, Sky's probably the best bet there. Normally you would probably go top batter, you'd look at the openers, but you've got Rohit, who hasn't been in great form. Johnny did very well in his last innings, but it was what it was, and maybe he won't get the runs twice. So Sky makes the most sense, but that's very short probably to back Sky. So what you might be looking
top
at...
Top batter 11-5 with talkSPORT bet.
If you wanted me to look at something, I thought Tilak Varma's been batting pretty poorly for a while, and I thought he looked really good yesterday. And so if they do lose a couple of early wickets, he might be a little bit more value. So I think I'd be probably looking for someone else rather than Sky. But Sky's very good at cricket.
Yes. In terms of Hardik Pandya, the captain, are you a fan of him as a captain?
Yeah, I do think sometimes he's the Virat Kohli style of captain where he gets really emotional and he has a lot of ups and a lot of downs, right? So he's not like MS Dhoni or Owen Morgan who just stay absolutely in the middle at all times. So I do think there are stages where you want that. But having said that, you look at Gujarat yesterday, Shubman Gill probably needed a little bit more passion at times, to go up and just, get on the side of his bowler. So Hardik does do that, but he's also the sort of person that you probably don't want to let down because he will give you a spray as a captain. But yeah, I don't mind his tactics at all.
Okay, that's Mumbai then. Let's do a little bit more of a deep dive then on Punjab, who made the IPL playoffs for the first time in 11 years. What's been the key for them this season? Why have they been so successful under Ricky Ponting?
They've built a cricket team. Whereas,
that helps, right?
Yeah, they were an experiment for a little while. They were, they've not got the greatest ownership, and so they make a lot of mistakes. And you look at this, and me and Rob both independently looked at their team and just went, wait, this looks like a team that could win cricket games. And last year we were like, this looks like a team that could be really fun, right? And that's the big difference. And you look through, they've got multiple options, with the bat, with the ball. They had all-rounders available to them. They had, a flexibility that they hadn't had before. And the one question mark we had was their opening batters, because we're like, Simran, is he that good? And Arya, we didn't know anything about. They both come out and been incredible. And that's turned them from what probably is a team that might have finished 5th or 6th into a team that has a chance of actually winning the title.
Yeah, they kind of almost been the surprise package, because again, the guys, a lot of the guys have got runs at the top of the order, probably guys that lots of people maybe didn't know too much about.
Yeah, I thought Shreyas Iyer was an absolute lock for most runs for Punjab this season, because I thought everyone else was just going to blast and he was going to chill out at number 3 and hold everything together. He's actually come out whacking. I think him and Prab Simran are both within a run of each other this season. But like Jared says, the top of the order has been great. Ayer's been a revelation, and he's got a ton this season. Prab Simran has developed the ability to go on after the power play. And if you look at the numbers, what most teams do in T20 cricket is they blast the power play now. Gujarat perhaps not, but most of them blast the power play now. The good ones realise that you should carry on blasting. You shouldn't then go, right, we're going to get a run of ball for 5 overs just because it's over number 7. It's like, no, keep whacking. If you're on top, keep whacking. And if you look at the percentage of boundaries hit by openers after the power play, Iyer and Prab Simran are right up there.
Right.
Abhishek's the other one. He can't stop, but he's never there for more than 20 balls, is he? And when
Has he ever batted outside of the power play before?
When he got 140 in one of the games, but most of the time he does, like, they move the field quite dramatically after the power play, and Abhishek can't see that. He's like, yeah, but there's no fielders up there, are there? So he just keeps hoofing. His boundary is absolutely mental, but the next two in are Iyer and Prab Simran, and that's because they keep going. The philosophy is, we're going to keep whacking, but there is some structure behind the madness now. So they have people with roles with the ball. What they used to do is they say, what we're going to do is we're going to get 11 blokes that hoof it. And the question that I would have asked is, what about the bowling? They go, don't worry about that, that'd be fine. What about the death bowling? When you need to defend 40 or 3 overs, what are you going to do? Oh, I don't know. Like, Odin's all right, isn't he? We'll give him the ball, and he goes for 25.
You don't like Odin Smith, do you?
I love him, actually. Jared's got plenty of...
Talking about twice on the show.
They should have used him, what he's good at, which is the occasional over of bumpers in the middle and absolute mega power hitting, right? He's one of the best ever at just coming in and blasting it for 6. But he's not a 20th over bowler when you're defending 15. He's not that guy. But what you shouldn't do when you're putting a T20 team together is square pegs in round holes. You're supposed to give people roles, jobs, clarity.
Sure.
So you back your guys. You say, I don't care that you got out first ball last time, Arya. Play the same this time. Keep going. England have built all their success in white ball on that philosophy. We're going to back you to do it. Do it. Not, oh, we got rolled for 100 this time, so we're going to come out blocking next time. They're going to lose if they do that, right? So they're going to come out and stick with the philosophy and back their bowlers and fielders to help, which they've never done before.
In the last game, there was no Marco Jansen. We know he's gone away with South Africa for the World Test Championship final. Also no Chahal as well. When we spoke about Punjab being the biggest price out of the 3, how big of a factor is that? No Jansen and at the moment no Chahal.
Yeah,
that's not why they lost the last game, though, is it? It's because they didn't make any runs.
Yeah, true.
But it was only about a week ago that they absolutely belted Mumbai. It was only about a week ago, and Mumbai felt like they'd done really well to score 180 odd, and Sky batted brilliantly for his 55, whatever he got, and then Punjab just came in and went, never mind, we're gonna smoke the runs off, and it was done. Punjab have been really good, as you said, Sam, of just guys step up, and you go, well, Harpreet Brar has just come in from the side. It's been awesome. Like, he's been taking wickets in the middle overs.
Towards the beginning of this tournament.
A bit, I guess. When you've got Chahal there, he's going to be your spinner, isn't he? You know, he's the name. And Brar was just waiting for his opportunity. He took them really well. So they've had guys that have stepped up. I'm still, the flag is still up the mast as far as Punjab goes. I've got belief that they can carry on with it.
Yeah, they'd be from a complete neutral's point of view. I mean, they're the team out of the 3 that left I'd like to see win it, right?
RCB as well, surely.
No. Why'd you say RCB?
Just because I think their fans deserve I think their fans have deserved a victory more than their team has.
I really like the fact that Virat Kohli's never won the IPL.
Oh, okay.
And I think that it's...
Sam Allard hates Virat Kohli. Can we put that on a banner?
That's what he kept saying off air as well.
I don't know if I hate him.
You said it off air, though.
I like the fact that... It's probably quite... I just think it's fun. I think it would be fun if Virat Kohli finishes playing cricket as like this god in India who has never won the IPL. I like that narrative. I'm all about narratives in sport.
You are all about that. Everyone always says that about you.
It's just remarkable that Virat Kohli's never won the IPL. I'm sorry, I just think it would be quite fun if he still doesn't win it. You're not happy?
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Can we just cut where you said I think it would be really funny if Virat Kohli stops playing cricket and just send that out to India.
Well, he's virtually stopped playing cricket, hasn't he, right? He's not playing Test cricket anymore. He's not playing T20 cricket.
So just
anymore.
ODIs and the.
Well, he's played the well, he's not playing as much cricket, is he? That's what he was as what he was 18 months ago. Why is Arshdeep bowling first? Such a big matchup.
So I think the big thing in that first over is that he's going up against Rohit Sharma, who where's Rob's briefcase of stats? Not even briefcase, is it? It's like
a suitcase.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to Ibiza.
He might be. I think he was planning on it actually, but Rohit averages 24 against left arm seam and 34 against right arm seam. Right, and everyone in the world, if there's no Indian fan who doesn't know this, because Shaheen Afridi's got him a bunch of times, right? You know, Trent Bolt's got him a couple of times as well. So going up against a very good left arm bowler in that first over is, I think, a really, really crucial one, right? So I think the matchup works really well there. And also, Johnny doesn't go out to left arm seam all that much, but he tries to whack it quite a bit. I think he scores like 9 runs and over against it. So you've got one guy at one end who's going to be desperate to get a single and is going to be playing across his front pad, hoping not to get LBW. And you've got bloke at the other end who's like, let me at it. I'm going to hit this over cover for 6. So that over, if Rohit gets stuck on the crease for too long, he could be out. And if Bairstow gets in, he could destroy Arshdeep. And as you just said, they don't have 2 more bowlers after that, right?
Sure.
That the other bowlers they have, Marco bowling at the back end of the power play, Chahal coming on for overs, 7, 9, 11, all those sorts of things. Everything changes now.
Lots of teams have lost different players for different reasons. Yeah. Would you say, with no Jansen and no Chahal, that perhaps Punjab have been hit the worst?
I think
could you say Gujarat with Butler? That was
Gujarat and Butler, probably just because their top 3 was their entire side, right?
And also Kusal Mendes just didn't. I don't want to have a go at Kusal Mendes.
I don't know.
He just should have put the gloves on the right way around. That was the problem.
I mean, his keeping was worse than his batting. His batting, at least he gave it a go.
His dismissal was the best dismissal of the whole of the IPL.
Oh, goodness. It's a long way to travel to 400 stumps.
You haven't played a lot of cricket in your life, but you might actually have a more embarrassing dismissal than Kusal Mendes.
Chris Silverwood's son bowled well that day.
How old was Chris Silverwood's son?
He was like 7 or something. He got a good one. No Jansen, no Chahal. They've been impacted the most harshest, Punjab.
No Maxwell.
What it does is it changes who they are as a team. So if Arshdeep doesn't get wickets now, they have to make what, 15% more than par with the bat. Right, and they made about 48% less than par with the bat last game, right? So they don't have a choice now. Their batting has to be awesome in probably both games, or Arshdeep has to take 2 or 3 wickets up the top. That's very fine margins, whereas before they had a backup, right? Do you remember that game? Was it against your Kolkata?
That was insane.
Where Chahal
defended.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore. Like, now they have defense. Like when they needed to take wickets against RCB in the other game, they had to throw the ball to a defensive spinner, not an attacking spinner. So that the whole game has changed for them.
Sure.
And that how they use Stoinis's bowling, like bowling bounces or something. They need to come up with another way to get wickets in the middle that isn't traditional. But realistically, you can't really cover for Marco Jansen and Chahal.
How do they do that then? How do they look to take wickets in different ways? Are there any other obvious options? Do you think Kyle Jameson was a good pickup?
So I wouldn't have answered yes to that question before I saw him bowl in this IPL because he
got Kohli out.
Okay, yeah. When Chennai spent 100 million on him or whatever it was, and he got dropped after 3 games because he was garbage. You think he's not the answer, but he bowled pretty well the other day, and that's what I mean about Punjab. They're just whatever Ponting's doing there. He's obviously very pro Aussie, isn't he? No one should be pro Aussie, should they? But he's obviously very pro Aussie in his selections, but he's getting a culture together there, which he's spoken about a lot, having worked with Shreyas before at Delhi, and they're actually perform. What you really need is the sum of the parts thing. But RCB have actually, the reason they're in the final now is they've been doing it as a team. 9 different people have been man of the match in RCB games for RCB. That is nuts, right? That's never happened before.
Is that in your briefcase?
It's in the briefcase. There's just clothes in there, right? There's no stat. So that tells you that they have different guys stepping up at different times. So they're not just relying on Arshdeep. I agree with Jared. If Arshdeep doesn't get any wickets, Punjab are under it. But they have loads of people, like Shashank is down the order. And he's so good. And they don't need him half the time because the batting's been absolutely fine. They just need people to step up. And there's no because they kind of have 4 fifth bowlers or 4th and 5th bowlers. And they're just like, we're going to try you. And if you get whacked, we're going to get, Vishak might step up and Bra might do it. And Stoin, come on, let's see if we can get an over out of you and just see which one's good that day and hope for the best. It sounds a bit club crickety, but there's way more method behind their madness this year. They really
I love keep on saying like it's really the tactic, just a club cricket coach, isn't he? Just rocking up, hoping for the best. Lots of Aussies. Who's impressed you the most?
Hazelwood.
Oh, I meant a Punjab before.
Oh,
no, sure.
Probably
Singlet, yeah.
Probably English. Only not that he's impressed me because I knew how good he was before, but I've never seen him play like this before.
And
right?
batting 3 ahead of Shreyas.
When he's played for Australia at times, he's sort of come in at 4 and 5 and being, I wouldn't say timid, but batted a little bit like an anchor. I mean, we've seen some big innings from him for Australia, so we know that is within him. But what I didn't think he had the ability to just go in and slog from ball 1. And there are some innings where he's probably gone too far, right? I think Ponting's just on the side, just going, "You're awesome, just smack it." And you can almost see him going out there. Ricky just said, "I can hit these," right? And sometimes it's like, "Settle down, buddy. You're not actually Ricky. You just bring it down a level." But the fact that he's allowed that from an Australian point of view, I'm like, I think it's fitting what Punjab want to do, which is great to begin with. But secondly, it shows the flexibility that he can now slog from ball 1. Which is really important for the Australian team going ahead. But yeah, for this team, I like the fact that they just try and hit as many 4s and 6s as possible. They got trapped on a bad wicket the other day. I think RCB would have struggled if they batted first on that wicket as well. But they also played a lot of horrendous shots on that wicket. If you get a flat pitch, they'll play the exact same shots and they might make 240.
What about this pitch in Ahmedabad?
Runs.
Going to get run.
So this is a much easier pitch to predict than the one that we had at New Chandigarh because, as we said, it's like one day was 100 and literally the next day 230 first innings. Whereas this one, I think the average this season in the 7 games has been 221, something like that. So it's mega runs and no one's failed. Anyone batting first has racked up a total. And I think the market, going on about betting again, the market has been too low for the innings runs line at this ground. I think it's been about 190 every time, and they're getting 230 and 220 and 210. So that is an angle to look out for, but you can trust. So unlike that pitch where they all got out playing not quite cross-batted, but definitely not straight, which is what Flower was telling them to do at half-time, wasn't he? This one, you can play your shots, and Punjab love playing their shots. So you can get the reverse out, you can play across the line, you can look for gaps and all that sort of thing. But this is a pitch where you should be scoring runs, and Punjab have built their success this season on the batting. And if they can get into Mumbai early, could be very, very interesting.
If you want to go on to talkSPORT Bet and have a look at Punjab Kings' top batter, no real surprise that it is Shreyas Iyer, 13-5. Mentioned Josh Inglis, he's 4-1 to be top batter. Potentially there could be
him run in there?
Yeah, he's second favourite at 16-5, and Arya is 15-4. Josh Inglis 4-1. Mitchell Owen 23-4.
You need to ask
Is
Rob.
he going to play?
Rob is so obsessed with Mitch Owen.
I love him.
In a good way.
In a great way. Do you love people in a bad way? Maniac.
Well, I love the fact that I do like Virat Kohli, but I also like the fact that there's a narrative around him and not winning the IPL. What do you love most about Mitchell Owen? Was that glorious 100 he scored?
He's uncomplicated. Like his Big Bash season was so good. The season gone by, he'd been a guy that you didn't really talk about much. He just sort of number 7, a clean hitter, but bad bowler basically. And they used him as a bad bowling clean hitter for a bit, and he didn't really do anything for ages. And then they went, all right, you're opening this season. And he was amazing. He wasn't just good, he was amazing, right? Ball 1, hoofing it every single time. And he came off every single time. Didn't fail. Then they've asked him to suddenly become this journeyman all around the world, mega opener in all conditions. And he can't do it. I'm not digging the guy out. He's a young man. He was so good in the Big Bash. They were getting 15 runs plus every first over. And the bookies are opening them at 5.5, right? He's getting 15, 15, 15, 17. Final, they got 23, I think. And it was so clean, the hitting, wasn't it? It just, but in Australia, talking about trusting the pitch is hard. He loved it. He's big, strong guy. Bounce is very predictable. He's in good form, mowing through the line. Fraser McGurk last season, good form, mowing through the line. This season, bad form, gets out every ball. Plays the same way, right? So the pitches now have a bit more in them. So then he has to go and play SA20, and they go, all right, you're number 7. He's like, yeah, but I've just scored 1 million runs opening. Can I go open? The only time he opened, I think he got 6 off 2, which is like mega lad innings, isn't it? 6 off 2.
But
If you can get 12 off 3,
and bang him at 7, almost just feels a bit.
I don't think he should. If he comes off, you win pretty much.
Sure.
Like he hits nearly every ball for 6 when he's on. But he's then gone to PSL and had to go to South Africa and now he's in the IPL and he batted once and failed. It's really hard to expect somebody who's only just done it once at home to then go around the world bossing it. I don't think he'll play, but I love him.
So that's Mumbai Punjab qualifier 2, which is on Sunday, and then we're going to do another show on Monday morning, aren't we, ahead of the final to see.
You've
who
been dropped
plays.
for that already, though.
No.
Oh, you're back in?
Yeah. Only because John can't do it. I mean, yeah. But I am doing that. To finish off then with this episode, the last 5 to 10 minutes. This wasn't in your questions that you sent me, but can I just throw you random things that have come to my head in the IPL over the last 2 months?
That's all you never talk to me about anything other than you only ever send me messages about IPL things you don't understand.
Which is a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask Rob then. You can pick.
Yeah.
See you, Jared.
Lucknow Super Giants.
Wow.
Has there ever been a more imbalanced team put together in IPL history where 1 to 5 looks potentially the best in the competition, and then Justin Langer would have rocked up and thought, who are my bowlers? I haven't got anyone that's actually any good.
Really good point. So they started the season with all their bowlers injured, but they had no plan for this. So Mayank Yadav, again, I've not been as excited at watching a cricketer for a long time. Like he just turned up in the IPL and blasted people away. I think he played 4 games and he finished his spell in 2 of them because he's just a massive injury. Well, he's a walking injury. The other 2, he got man of the match. Like, he's a total gun. But they knew he was injured, right? So you can't build the attack around someone that's injured. Then they suddenly have to go, well, Shardul, can you play? I think Shardul might have got the most wickets for them all close.
Well, and Shardul was supposed to be playing for Essex, wasn't he?
Right. So they just go, sorry, we don't have any bowler. They started the season, we don't have any bowlers.
The overseas bowler was the West Indian guy. Shamar Joseph.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. We all knew Shamar Joseph wasn't going to play. All you have to do is replace him with like a senior bowler, and then if things go wrong, you can at least go, bowl some overs for us. Just a regular bowler. And instead, everything was so extreme. It's like, well, if Shamar Joseph and Mayank Yadav come off, we'll have the greatest bowling attack of all time, or we'll have 2 injured guys who can't hit the pitch. Like
it's an absolute joke. So when I was doing my work for them, it's quite easy for some teams to go, well, this is going to be about the 11. If it's not that guy, it'll be that guy. Lucknow, it's just like, oh yeah, Pooran, number 3, yep. Just question marks everywhere.
Incredible. I couldn't believe how bad
and
it was.
I was like, well, Bishnoi is 4 point something to be top wicket taker for them for the season. I'm like, I haven't got anyone else. And I had quite a big bet, and he was so bad. Like, he couldn't find his length. He got dropped. It ended up being Digvesh who did it, who we didn't really have in our calculations. The guy that keeps getting banned for his celebrations. So that is an example. So I backed them to finish bottom at 5 to 1 of the IPL Lucknow because they had no bowlers. They accidentally ended up with a couple. They were still rubbish. They won quite a few games that went right down to the wire, didn't they? But Pooran bailed them out of the first half of the season.
And then he
started amazing. He got 5 top bats out of the first 6, I think. He was just awesome. And then he fell down a bit. And then Lucknow went to kind of where we expected of just losing a lot. But yeah, good shout.
Yeah.
No bowlers.
Sunrisers Hyderabad obviously got to the final last year. And I know that they won a couple of games right towards the end, which made their league position look better than probably what their season suggests. I'm going to make a statement. I don't know if you guys have got stats to back this up. I appreciate every team's top 2 getting off to good starts are very, very important. But it feels like with me that with those 2 in particular, Abhishek and Travis Head, if they don't get the innings off to a good start, it feels like Sunrisers Hyderabad don't win games of cricket. Are they the team that are most reliant on the top 2 getting runs to have chances of winning games?
I think last year it was just a ridiculous season, right? And there had to be a regression because no one can continue to bat like that the way that they did. But also, if you look at it last year, I think their batting was maybe just a little bit longer, and they had the ability to bat Klaasen at number 5 or number 6. Felt like he was coming in too early. So if they both fail, Klaasen has to come in too early, which means he knocks the ball around, which means you don't get Klaasen being Klaasen, right?
Sure.
So the big weapons they had, other than the fact that they also had Smash Ratosh and who was the other guy they had down the order who could hit the ball last year? They had a couple of other guys. So I thought they had slightly more depth, which meant they could go harder. But the 2 big strengths were basically that they had 2 openers who could win the game, and then they had Heinrich Klaasen. And they sort of turned Heinrich Klaasen into an anchor at times this year. So it meant that if the openers didn't make any runs, Klaasen had to come in and knock the ball around, and that just doesn't work for them, right? Like it doesn't help them win games. So I think they changed what they were. They had one game where they blocked. Do you remember that? We couldn't believe it. Like we were watching it going, This is not what you do. I'll be honest with you, Sam. I still think they had a good enough team to make the playoffs.
Good enough bowling attack?
Well, they did exactly what they needed. Last year, I said they just need to get people in who can take wickets. They got Mohammad Shami in, they got Adam Zampa in. Adam Zampa was done after 2 games, and Mohammad Shami was obviously not fit, right? So they did the right thing, and it didn't work, and then their batting regressed.
The bowling attack on paper before a ball was bowled looked good enough to win the tournament.
I thought if they batted I didn't think they'd bat the way they would last year. I thought they'd come down a little bit, but I thought they could still make high scores. And then Zampa and Shami and Natarajan would take a bunch of... Natarajan? Yeah.
Yeah, Natarajan.
Yeah. So he was injured and he didn't play.
Sure.
Shami was injured and did play. And Zampa didn't play. So the 3 bowlers I thought would be the main bowlers for them. None of them were fit and bowling.
In terms of... Is there a player that stood out to you as being the biggest disappointment, perhaps? Like, I'm not sure if we did a preview show before the IPL, and I think me and Bumble spoke about Jake Fraser-McGurk, really expecting him to have a good season after last year. Is he maybe somebody that has been someone that didn't really live up to the hype going into the season?
I think Punjab fans would probably say Glenn Maxwell, because he didn't do anything this season. I think he got 30 once, and all the other times he walked in, tried to play a massive sweep, got bowled and walked off again. And then got injured, and who knows how Maxwell gets injured. Anyway, the Fraser-McGurk thing... So last year we were riding that wave big time betting because he was in great form, and so he was a first over guy. We were just hammering overs for Delhi because he kept hitting sixes first over, and the bookies used to price, will there be a 6 in the first over, very, very badly when you've got a guy like him who you know is going to try. Same thing with Mitch Owen. I'll talk about him forever and a day. Anyway, but if you followed... Yeah,
not when he's batting a 7 at 620.
If you followed Fraggle's arc from last IPL to this one, he hadn't scored any runs, and in the Big Bash this season he scored 1 meaningless big one, and all the others he failed. And this is on the pitches he likes. Yeah. This is the flat ones with the bounce that you can. I don't know how he does it, but he leans forward when he sets up, doesn't he? And he's like, come and get me, I'm the rooster, I'm the man, whatever. And you can be made to look a bit silly if you then nick off for 3 off 6 trying to hit every ball to the moon, which he did consistently. He played for Australia for a bit, too soon probably. Nicked off loads of times or whacked it straight up in the air, and it looked so bad. His international debut, I think he went like massive swing and a miss, massive swing and a miss, 6, and he's like, I'm the best player ever, out. Okay, well, international cricket, the people think a bit more. IPL cricket is arguably the highest standard of the whole lot, and he came out and he was like, well, I'm not in form, what do I do now? And he tried to whack it again and failed. Then he tried to block it. That's the worst thing you can do if you're that kind of player. Sure. And he failed again. And they had to get rid. But I don't mind rolling the dice and going, let's see what he can do. Because if he comes off, right, you go, last season, he was probably the player of the tournament, like in terms of the impact that he made. This season,
he was not
disappointing. But when you bat like that, if you're in bad form, you don't score any runs. Because you just give chances all the time. If you're not finding the middle, it's finding the edge, and it's going to go to somebody's hand, right? So live by the sword, die by the sword.
Has there been any different obvious trends in this year's IPL compared to previous IPLs?
So, you've got the impact sub obviously makes...
Do you like that?
I just think that we should have substitutions in cricket and move on as a sport in general. So I don't like the impact sub. I would just have substitutions so you can have the best 5 bowlers bowling against the best 10 batters.
Boring.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you're batting seconds, you can sub out 5 bowlers for 5 batsmen?
Yeah, I think you should be able to do it in test matches.
It's boring.
Oh, come on, Jared.
I want to see I don't want to see Scott Styris bowling. Right?
Why don't you want to see...
I don't want to see Marcus Doyle coming in and bowling bounces. You can't have a
test match where...
Why?
You can have a guy averaging 45 batting at 11.
Why? Why can't you have that?
Rob, we would...
I don't know, but you just can't, can you?
Some of the funniest things in the game of cricket is watching an absolutely hopeless number 11 that is like most pub teams have got someone better than him facing Jasprit Bumrah.
Yeah,
it's so much fun, isn't it?
And especially when they end up doing okay.
I mean, we wouldn't have seen the career of Chris Martin if we had your stupid rules in place.
I'm just a huge fan of watching Darren Lehman bowl 7 overs in an ODI.
That's different.
It's exactly the same thing. Because you're forcing with the regulations for someone to have to bowl when they're not at their best.
I want to see Mark Wood pick 5 bowlers, Jared.
I want to see Mark Wood bowl on day 1, right? And I want England to pick 4 spinners on day 4 or day 5.
You don't want to see him bat. What, so you're allowed to change spinners to seamers?
I'm not saying it's not fun. I'm just saying.
But you sub him out.
Move on. I would sub out everyone.
So Jared hates.
I would sub you out of the show if I could.
I didn't think he was going to go that rogue with that statement.
So what happened is the impact sub comes in, we get more runs. We're actually getting more runs in T20 cricket all around the world at the moment. I would say that after last year's IPL, and I can tell you this, you'll love this fact. There is a rumor that
A rumor.
yeah, it's a fact that it's a rumor.
Okay.
And it started by IPL players that last year the BCCI got in these like balls that were like for batting, as if Kookaburra have the skills to go, this is the batting ball and this is the bowling ball. Whereas in actual fact, what's happened is we've seen a natural evolution. But this year we've just seen a slight regression because last year we probably had too many runs scored, right? And bowlers are like, wait a minute, we can try things again. And we can actually get a little bit back on top. So I think we've had a bit more of a settling down. So we haven't had as many 250, 260, 270 games this year, right? That's great. That's what we want. We still have teams getting bowled out for 110 and 111. Sorry to bring that up, that game that your guys lost again. But we still had those games as well. I just felt like, I actually think we've had a couple of high-scoring games, a couple of really low-scoring games, and a bunch of games between, 155 and 185. That's kind of a bit more perfect. Where it did feel at one stage last year where you're just like, is 240 par?
But even right at the start of this tournament, like the first 4 or 5 games,
Sunrisers came out and whacked 286 or whatever it was. You're like, oh,
mate,
God, here we go.
You should have seen my direct messages at that point with all these people going, I told you the game's gone. I told you the game's gone. And then they all disappeared after about the 6th game. And I never heard anyone moan about it again. Yeah.
cricket. Don't get me started on KKR, by the way, this year. I mean, seriously.
I love them, but
Do you? This year, you
they're just fun. But they bet the farm on Venki, right? And that was...
Can you tell why?
It was so much money. It was so much money that they spent on him. He kind of had to be amazing at everything. And as much as I like the guy, he's really fun. He's just one of those all-rounders that isn't particularly good at batting, and he's no good at bowling.
He doesn't bowl.
And his fielding was terrible in this competition as well.
Off the job, I don't remember seeing him bowl once.
Don't think
I'm
so.
sure he did, yeah.
He hardly batted, but there was
it?
one game where he was in the batting order and 7 of them batted, and he wasn't one of them. So it's like they don't even trust him as a batsman, top 7 batsman, and they spent all the money on it.
So they bat on paper what looks quite deep, and it feels like lots of the guys in the middle didn't get runs.
Yeah.
And then yet Rodman Powell barely played.
You love Rodman Powell, I can sense it.
I just thought,
Have you ever dapped up Rodman Powell?
well, in the
And now we understand why he loves him. You are so
last
predictable.
time I was in the Caribbean, he was the captain of the West Indies, which, by the way, he still should be. Disgraceful that he's not. He was my boy. He was cool. No, I just thought, I just thought, looking at that KKR team, it batted quite deep. So many of the guys in the middle were out of form.
They changed.
Rodman on the bench. I thought they should have given him a run at some point in the team.
So they changed too many things, KKR, because last year it was Supernarine and Phil Salt opening the batting. Salt was great, right? They got rid of him, right? Keep Salt, always keep Salt, always keep Salt. They got rid of Shreyas, who is amazing. Is possibly the best player spin in the whole wide world. So they got rid of him as well. Then they go, well, Narayan's going to be amazing again. Last year's IPL, it is impossible that he did what he did. I will never understand it. He scored about 500 runs with his eyes closed. It was unreal. He kept scoring. He got 100 last year, and at no point in that innings was he due more than another 13. At no point.
Really?
Right. So everyone's hammering under 13 and a half more when he's on 20. It's like, well, he's got his eyes closed. You can't trade that guy. It's impossible. Anyway, so they were like, he's going to be awesome. And then we're going to put 2 of exactly the same people, and one of them will be good, Gurbaz or de Kock. And de Kock did a good one at the start. He got 90 odd. Nothing else. And his innings was deplorable, the last one. I'll talk about that as long as you want. When he came in and blocked, because he was like, I'm playing for my contract next year. I don't care that we need to win. They could have still qualified at that point. And he just deferred risk, didn't play a shot. And he ended up like 9 off 18 or something horrible. Worst innings of the tournament. So like selfish, awful. Drop him, get someone else next year. But Gurbaz is very similar type of bat. He's not Phil Salt, is he? You want whacking at the top if you're KKR, and then Ear or someone to dig you out, and then want more Venkatesh. He's called Ear. Let's do him instead. And it just didn't work.
I felt they win it. Salt at the top goes. The captain goes. And I know Stark maybe wasn't amazing for them last year.
Wasn't the playoffs,
but it still feels like Stark. Yeah, when he bowled head, didn't he?
But
it still feels like Stark is still an option they should have had in this team.
Well, you could have let go of one of those guys, because you can't keep everyone. And once you're keeping Narayan and you're keeping Andre, like, you're already in trouble. But the fact that they let so many players go, and they didn't really give Shreyas any credit for that. And I think Shreyas is quite a good captain. Like, he's probably one of the better captains. Like, Shubman Gill's about to captain the Test team. If you were asking me who is a better captain at the moment, I would probably pick Shreyas Iyer over him.
All day, yeah.
Right? So and Shubman Gill might still go on to be a very good captain. So why would you let go of a captain who is about to hit his prime as a batter, who's getting better against the short ball? Like, it just felt like a bit of a weird move.
Do we actually know? Do you remember what their reasoning at the time was?
So
Is
they
it,
say
so they kept two of the big boys.
But
the
you can only
financial-
keep.
can't keep everyone. Can you?
Yeah.
Sure.
they say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they were like, if it ain't broke, get a hammer out and hammer the hell out of it, and then we'll see how we can rebuild from there. It just changed everyone. It didn't work. Bad effort.
Have you dapped Shreyas Iyer?
No, never met him before. Maybe this. Oh, not this summer. Maybe here this summer, will he?
No.
Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very, very much. And this has been brought to you in association with talkSPORT Bet. For all the latest IPL odds, head to talksportbet.com. It is 18 plus, gambleaware.org, and please gamble responsibly. talkSPORT Bet got lots of IPL markets up. So whenever you're watching this video ahead of qualifier 2 or ahead of the final as well on Tuesday, head to talkSPORT Bet. Lots of good markets on the IPL. Gents, thank you very much. We're going to do this again Monday morning ahead of the final. Let's dap.
Are we dapping?
There we go. What is dapping, by the way?
I've no idea.
You're the one who always goes on about dapping.